Welcome back to Crypto Tax Club, where you win the tax game like the whales do. The House passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill last week and is currently at President Joe Biden's desk to be signed. So if you're holding cryptocurrency, this might apply to you. First, brokers like Coinbase, Robinhood, Binance, or other crypto exchange will be required to report your transaction to the IRS by issuing a form called 1099-B. This is now going to be a mandatory effective 2024. However, currently right now, it is just optional for brokers and exchanges. But Coinbase and Robinhood will still report to the IRS. So this means that you will still have to report your gains and losses on your tax return. Regardless, it is very complex because the brokers will not have enough information to know your costs and proceeds for each transaction. It's easy to demonstrate visually. So, if you purchased Bitcoin for $50,000 through, let's say, Coinbase, and you transferred it to a wallet, a couple weeks later, you transferred it to Binance to sell for US dollars. Unfortunately, Binance will know how much you sold the Bitcoin for, but they will not know your cost in the Bitcoin. On the 1099, they won't really give you the full details, and you'll be responsible for keeping track. So this can be complex because if you're moving cryptocurrency around from one exchange to the other, you really need to keep track so you will know how much to report a gain or loss on your tax returns. Second, everyone will be required to report to the IRS for any situations where you receive more than $10,000 in cash or equivalent like cryptocurrency. If you were to pay in crypto for a product or service, technically that's a taxable event. You will pay taxes based on the value of that crypto minus your cost. So this part of the provision targets people that are paying in cryptocurrency and is a way for the IRS to get more information. So to give you an example, let's say I paid 1 Bitcoin for a used Tesla on Facebook Marketplace. The seller will be required to disclose your information such as your name, your social security number to the IRS. The IRS will then know your transaction and will expect you to report your income. All of this will be passed in effective 2024. There will also changes to the proposed Build Back Better bill that will impact you right away once it's passed. Here is the bill, and it's very lengthy, so I will just summarize some of the changes that will impact you. First is the tax rates. It looks like the highest marginal tax rate and capital gain rate will not increase this year. The top marginal tax rate will stay at 37%. Previously, it was proposed to increase it to 39.6%, and the capital gain rates will stay at 20%. Previously, it was proposed to increase to 25%. But there are other tax increases that will be in addition to the marginal tax rate and capital gain rate. There will be a 5% surcharge on anyone making over $10 million, and additional 3% if you make over $25 million if you're a single taxpayer. In addition, there's still the net investment income tax will still apply of 3.8%. So bringing this all together, it means that if you're making $0 to $10 million, you're going to recognize a long-term capital gain rate of 20% plus 3.8% net investment income tax. So together, it would be a 23.8% tax rate plus your state taxes. If you're making $10 million through $25 million, your tax rate would be 28.8%, which is the 20% plus 3.8% net investment income tax plus the 5% surcharge. And finally, if you're making $25 million or more, your rate will be 31.8%, which is 20% rate plus 3.8% net investment income tax plus the 5% surtax plus the 3% surtax. And then you also have to layer in your state taxes as well. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel.